Hey, what's up, guys? I've been asked to do a video on the Biffle head, hard head, or whatever you want to call it. There's so many names for it. This is one I like to use, Jean Larue's hard heads. But that's before I started making my own. They finally came out with a mold for me so I could start making my own. First off, I'm going to start out with the equipment I like to use. I use anywhere from a 7.3 medium heavy to a 7.6 medium heavy on 17 to 20 pound fluorocarbon line. I like to run a little heavier because you are dragging it through the rocks and stuff like that, so I like to a little bit heavier, takes a little bit more abrasion and stuff. The reel I like to use is just a 6.4. I don't like anything real fast or real slow. In this bait, there's a bunch of techniques that this bait reminds me of. First off, a crankbait. It's a plastic crankbait. That's why I think of it. It's always on bottom. You got all kinds of action coming along. Then I fish it a lot like a Carolina rig. Sometimes real slow, sometimes fast. Then sometimes I'll fish it like a regular football head jig. It's just a very effective bait, has a lot of action. There's a bunch of different baits that I like to run on it. I'll even run worms from the Lake Fork. The hyper worm. To even a 10-inch power worm. I like running, especially when the smallmouths up here are deeper and they're on beds. I like to run Power Team Lure 4.8 hammer shad. Just think about it. What's this? If you run this through a bed when they're spawning, what's going to happen to it? It's going to get ate. It looks just like a minnow. It's on bottom, so it's all with the PTL. They got the buoyancy, so it's always like this. It looks like it's going to eat their eggs. In my opinion, the best baits you can run is the actual Jean Larue Biffle bug and the rattling crawler. I love running the rage craws off it, chigger craws, missile baits, D-bombs, and actually a really good one for it. The Gambler Otters work really well. The Havoc, Craw Fatties. Then your Power Team Lures, Conviction Craw and Texas Rig Jig, but I actually cut the skirt off the Texas Rig Jig because it interferes with the wobble head. But here's how I like to fish it. I'll use it a lot for a search bait, to be honest with you. I'll cast it out, let it sink, hit the bottom, and I'll just reel it in slow. Just like sometimes like I'll do with a Carolina rig, or I'll drag it along like a Carolina rig. Sometimes I'll stroke it like a jig. Sometimes I'll just shake it, pop it along the bottom. Just kind of let the fish tell me what they want. But I can give you one tip with the Biffle head or wobble head. Is when it gets snagged in the rocks, it comes out pretty easy. But I want you guys to pay attention when you pop it out of the rocks and you actually get it free. Sometimes you'll feel a bite as soon as it pops free, gets loose. But sometimes if you just let it sit there for like 30 seconds and you pick it up, you'll feel something on it. There's, after it pops free, they're just looking at it, and then eventually they'll take it. And then another tip, this thing, don't be scared to throw this thing in brush or even flip it. This thing is, I don't know why, but this is the best bait I've ever seen for going through brush on the bottom. You can feel it going straight through it and doesn't get hung up. I don't know why, but it's awesome bait. And I've actually used this for flipping into trees. If you think about it, with that wobble head, when you're flipping and it goes into a pocket of a tree limbs, this bait has all kinds of action. So, but one of my subscribers wanted me to talk about it. He's heard me saying about the Biffle head in my past videos. I just thought I'd share it with you a little bit. It's a pretty simple technique. You just got to make sure the whole thing of it is you got to make sure you're on bottom and you want to feel that bottom. There's 3 sizes I like to use. I like to use 5/16, 7/16, and 11/16. You know, 11/16 is 20 foot plus. You know, the 7/16 from 10 to 20. Then 5/16 is the 0 to 10. I always want to make sure I'm on bottom. It's a little hard to get used to a little bit when you to know the difference between a rock and a bite, but you guys will get the hang of it. And I can give you another tip. When you feel a bite, don't set the hook like a madman. Kind of reel and set, because this head, especially with 11/16, when you just go ahead and set the hook, that weight will blow out of his mouth and open his mouth, and you won't get good hookups. So I recommend just when you feel that bite, set your rod down and reel up, and if you feel tension, just kind of reel into them and pull. And these hooks are pretty sharp. You always get them in the roof of the mouth if you do it that way. It's a pretty awesome technique. I hope you guys will try this. If you have any questions, just comment below. Then please like this video and subscribe to me. Thanks for watching, guys.